Welcome, everybody, to episode 49 of Disney with the Ducks, coming to you from Duck Studios around the country. I'm your host for the evening, John Kral, and I've also got with me my friend Jeff.
Hey, guys.
We've got Lonnie.
Hey, everybody.
We've got Gene.
Hello.
Kevin's with us.
Hey, y'all.
And we have a special guest tonight, our friend Sarah, that most of the group met down at Marathon Weekend last week.
Hey.
All right. So welcome, everybody. First off, we're going to ask a question of the group, and then we'll get to know Sarah a little bit. And then what we're going to talk about tonight is Run Disney related. We just had our big marathon weekend, which is the biggest race weekend at Disney World. There are 4 races. So there's the 5K, the 10K, the half marathon, and the full marathon. And I think everyone on the screen ran all 4 of those. So let's cut.
Thanks.
That. I forgot.
Keep it in.
I forgot.
Keep it in.
Remember, we're a rolling mash unit.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Okay, so we attempted to run Dopey. We've got a lot of our duck crew here. We've got Sarah that ran with a bunch of the ducks over the weekend. But first, I want to start off with asking you guys. It's a running episode. So the question tonight is, what's your favorite non-Disney race that you've ran? Sarah, let's start with you as the guest of honor.
I haven't done a ton of non-Disney races. I kind of run 4 Disney races. But I would say the favorite I've done so far, I live in the Kansas City area, and there's the Plaza is one of the areas, like kind of known shopping area. And so they have a 10K there every year, 10K. So I've done that one with some friends. So I would say that's the favorite I've done recently that's non-Disney.
Cool. All right. I think a lot of us are kind of in the same boat where we run mostly to be able to run the Disney races. Kevin, what about you? You got a favorite race outside of Disney that you've ran?
There's a local race here. It's the Tom King Classic. It's a real flat race, but you run along the Cumberland River here in Nashville. It's pretty flat. It's very fast. That's where anytime I've tried to get a PR to try to get a decent corral, that's a really good race to run. Real wide open, not congested at all. Very well staffed. I mean, they have a lot of good volunteers there, and a really good group of people. A lot of charity runners and things like that. So it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Whenever I'm able to do it, it's close to St. Patrick's Day, so it's not too hot, not too cold. It's a really good time of year on a flat course if you really want to try to get a good time, to qualify for, a higher corral for Disney.
And I've got to imagine, Kevin, there's probably not a lot of flat courses around you, right?
No, that one runs in the river bottoms, and that's really probably I think they actually created that course to try to make the flattest possible course they could and still be actually a half marathon. So a lot of people run it to try to get good times. So
awesome. That's great that you have that flat course to run too, because those hills, those aren't helping the time.
Yeah, I don't like any hills.
No, they're awful. Gene, what about you?
Yeah, I have not run a ton of races apart from Disney races. Lonnie and I did a half marathon here in Shreveport it wasn't fun. It was great to run with Lonnie, but I did not finish strong. It was a kickoff for the Independence Bowl they do every year. And it was fun, but apart from that, the most fun race I think I've ever had was the gym I belong to. It's a ministry, and they do some different fundraisers and different things. And they did a mud run one year, and I believe it was 6 miles, and it was just a lot of obstacles. I really didn't know anybody there, and so I didn't run it by myself. So that part wasn't fun. But just to do something different, because all I'd done is like straight running before. And so you're climbing stuff, you're swinging over stuff, you're crawling under stuff. I ripped shorts. It was great. It was like they had food, they had music. It was, so it was just a lot of fun. They haven't done anything since then, but it's one of those things that I think that would be so much more fun if I went with a bunch of friends and did it,
Yeah, those races like Spartan Race and Warrior Dash and stuff are pretty fun. But you know what I found? They all start off with going through like knee-deep water. So your shoes are wet immediately.
Right off.
Yeah. I'm not good with that.
There was one guy there, and the gym, they're crazy people that go to this gym, and there was a guy that carried a tire, and he did it I think he did it 5 or 6 times. He did the whole thing carrying a tire, and he just would finish and he'd start again. Crazy.
I've ran all my races with a spare tire, Gene.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
It's really
I
not that
understand.
difficult.
I've got a couple of them, as it turns
I
out.
don't think that's the tire that he's talking about.
Oh, well, it is hard to run with this spare tire too.
It is.
for sure.
All right. So Lonnie, what about you? What's a favorite race that you have outside of Disney?
Well, I hate running. I have a general disdain for it. I hate it with a passion. So it's hard for me to kind of find a race that I would run outside of Disney. But I'm gonna go with the Little Rock Marathon. I ran that one this past year. Stupid of me to run it. I got a call like a week before the race, and the race director reminded me that I had deferred the race, and I hadn't ran since Dopey, and he was like, "Yeah, the race is in March 7th," and I think we were flying out the next day on vacation, and I was like, "Oh well, I mean, I guess I'll do it." And but the course support was really really good. I think finishing like 6 hours. It wasn't bad. Rolled through it. It was a nice, cool race. Katie from the Lizards was there, so ran with her for a bit. So I would go with the Little Rock Marathon. I would suggest that you train for it though, because it's extremely hilly.
That's usually good advice for a
Mhm.
half marathon or a marathon, any of those distances. And Lonnie, was this the one with the medal you sent a picture of us or sent us a picture that was like this big? Okay.
Yeah. that
So
was it.
yeah, the medal was, I think, the size of a human head. It looked crazy. Jeff, where do you like to run outside of Disney? What's a favorite race you've done?
I'm going to cheat here just because I can, and you're not going to stop me from talking. Most of my favorite races that I've done are ones that I've done with other friends and everything. So the Glass City Half Marathon we did in Toledo back in 2021-ish, something like that, I think.
I think so.
That was a good race. We had a lot of fun up there, met a lot of people we were friends with. Wasn't my favorite course, but just the environment I enjoyed. I really enjoyed the Flying Pig. Just for the same reason. Miserable race. The hills
Yeah.
sucked. I wasn't feeling good. I hated being there.
No
But
bacon.
there was no bacon. But just being surrounded by the friends and the crew that we had made it enjoyable. But I'd have to say my favorite race I probably ever did was my first half marathon, which was the Amish Country Half Marathon. It was a pretty tough course. Had quite an elevation change, and I had one of my better times I've ever ran there. So we'll take that as probably my favorite race that I've done.
Nice.
That's
Well,
a
I'm
good-
glad you mentioned the Glass City one because that was the most fun outside of Disney I've had at a race, just because it was with a bunch of lizards. We met up. It was the first time I met Jody, first time I met you and Carly in person. It was just a fun experience. But my favorite race outside of Disney is called Bayshore, and it's in Traverse City, Michigan. It's like up in the northwest part of the state, right on Lake Michigan on a bay. You have these beautiful views as you're running. The whole town kind of comes out to support. It's just really cool. It's a fun beach town that's got great food, good wineries, all kind of stuff. So we love going up there, and it's Memorial Day weekend. So it's a fun kind of extended weekend for us to get away usually every year. So that's I think my favorite one is.
Are the cherry blossoms still blooming typically during that, or is that usually done by then?
No, yeah, usually not. But sometimes they have Cherry Fest coming later in the year. But a little insider info, they bring in the cherries from Washington for that because the cherries in Traverse City aren't quite ready yet. So it's a bit, it's a bit of a slap in the face when you find that out. Because
This cherry festival brought to you by a step
Yeah.
further west.
yeah, by 3,000 miles that away. But yeah, but that's my favorite race just because it's just beautiful. Even when we go on vacation up there, I like to run that route. So that's it. But that kind of brings us into what we want to talk about tonight, which is the Run Disney event that we mentioned earlier. But before we get into that, Sarah, I just wanted to get a little bit of get to know you a little bit more. So what really made you sign up for the Dopey Challenge this year, and why Run Disney? What kind of brought you to it?
Yeah, so I feel like my Run Disney started back in, what was it? I guess, yeah, February of 2020. I did my first 10K I've ever done, which was at Princess Weekend. And the year before that, we were there over Princess Weekend for my grandma's birthday. And I was like, this sounds cool. Like, what? They run through Disney parks? This sounds cool. So I signed up to do that the next year. And I was like, okay, 10K is pretty cool. So then I did a couple other 10Ks. And then in I guess 2020, I did my first half over marathon weekend. And I was thinking of doing my first full there. And somebody's like, if you can do the full, like the dopey's not that much more training. Like you should just do dopey. Like I did my first full during dopey. Like just sign up for dopey. It's no big deal. And then I was like, oh, I don't know about that. But then I kind of got sucked into around registration and all the excitement around that. So I decided to sign up for dopey. So so I did dopey as my first marathon.
Nice.
Peer pressure sucks. It's terrible.
It's awful.
That's a heck of a way to run your first marathon.
Yeah.
As the back end of 48.6 miles for the
Which
weekend.
is why I kind of knew I've done all the other races by myself. I haven't known anybody. I've just done them by myself. And you kind of talk to people here or there along the course, but not really sustaining anything. So that's why this time I'm kind of like, I want to find some people that, I can run with, make it more fun. So I lucked out and here I am.
And you found no better options than us.
I know. I was going to say, this is a
right?
rough
Slim
group to
pickings.
choose.
I mean, you guys kept me laughing the whole time. So, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing I found with these races and doing the marathon last year with this group. I mean, that's how we came together, right? Was we met each other in the corrals and we were all kind of injured and trying to beat the balloon ladies. So we pulled each other through, which was awesome. And it sounds like you fit right in with the group from what I've heard. So I'm excited to get into the discussion about kind of the race weekend. So one of the first things when you get to marathon weekend, you need to go to the expo. You've got to get your merchandise. You've got to get your bib, your shirts, all that kind of stuff. So this year there was something new with the virtual queue. So I'm interested to see how that went for everybody. I know, Jeff, you were getting into town. You were going to be there early that morning, right?
We actually got in Tuesday night. And I think before we even get to the expo, I think first you have to get to the expo.
Right.
So I think there's probably some discussion that needs to happen.
There was some travel issues around the country. I forgot about that. There was a lot of issues with Southwest and some of the other carriers. So
Southwest was fine for us. We got in Tuesday night.
Okay for me.
We had no issues. We were ready to go for Wednesday morning. So we got to the parks Tuesday night, met some friends at the Springs, had dinner, just took it easy, and then got ready for the virtual queue Wednesday. I don't think it quite went that smooth for everybody else here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Lonnie and Gene, I think you guys were gonna come in Wednesday, right?
We were gonna come in Wednesday.
Yeah, initially our plan was to come in on Wednesday, but our plan was foiled.
It started for me at, I had a 6 a.m. flight and my wife was going to bring me to the airport and I picked up my phone because, I couldn't sleep. It was a little early for me to get up, but I saw that my flight had been delayed to 7:15 or 7:30. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and go to the airport. You never know what could happen. I've had things change plenty of times. It didn't change. It only got worse from there. I landed, you can pick up anytime you want to, Lonnie, but I landed in Dallas a little late, thinking I'd missed my connection. However, Lonnie and I were to meet up. Lonnie was still on that plane sitting on the runway. And he said, hey, hurry to the gate. You probably can still get on. I wasn't able to get on. And then, Lonnie, what happened?
Well, after sitting on the plane for about an hour and a half, the pilot, pulled back. He said, we got to get more gas because we're going to go around a long way and all that kind of good stuff. And while we were getting gas and we backed up to the runway to take off again, my phone went off saying that the flight was canceled. The flight that I was actually on. And they're like, yeah. So I looked at the guy next to me and I said, hey man, did you just get a thing saying your flight was canceled? And he was like, yeah, I did. And at the same time, the pilot's saying, get ready, we're going to take off. Obviously, we didn't take off. And then he came back on about 2 minutes later and said, well, there's a rumor that the flight is canceled. And I'm like, he said, we're going to get to the bottom of this. And he came back.
But at the gate, they wouldn't let me on because they said that flight's already taken off. I said, it hasn't.
Yeah, it hasn't. So, and it didn't take off. So we pulled back to the gate, got off, was able to hook up with Gene. They kept moving our flights around. They had us going to Charlotte. Then they wanted us to go to Chicago. And I'm like, isn't the weather worse in Chicago? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, so what are the chances of me going to Chicago and then getting to Orlando? And the lady was like, well, I don't think it's good. I was like, so why would you send me to Chicago? I mean, literally. I mean, it makes no sense. So, I mean, we just, honestly, the savior for us was the American Express Lounge because Gene and
I'm just glad Lonnie's big time. That's all I can say. It made it bearable.
we rolled in that lounge at around 12, and we left out at around what time? 6 or 7, 8? I don't know, man.
Yep.
I don't know.
I mean, I ate 2 meals on them. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I actually had a confirmed flight to Orlando, but Lonnie couldn't get on that flight. And so he got one to Tampa. I'm like, I mean, there's no sense. What am I going to do? I don't even know. I mean, I don't know what bus to take. I don't know. What's an expo? I don't know. So I just figured, I'll just book whatever flight Lonnie's going to be on. We booked a car and figured, hey, it'll be fine. So that's that flight that I think was originally supposed to leave at 10:30 in the morning. What time did it leave, Lonnie?
We left at like 7. Yeah, we left at about 7
p.m. Yeah,
p.m. And we got there, and so we landed in Tampa, and it was crazy. They had people everywhere, dogs barking. I mean, literally, I'm not playing. You can ask Gene. They had dogs. Gene got into it with some lady in the Skyway.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That got on the train cussing and stuff, and we were just not having it. And,
can I tell y'all about that? Because
yeah, please,
I mean,
please.
I don't
didn't know about
mad. I generally don't talk. I generally don't get into altercations with people. It wasn't an altercation, but she turned to face everybody and she said, "What? How do y'all feel about a screaming baby on a plane?" And starts, using some foul language. And I said, and everybody was looking at her like in our little crowd around her, but they immediately looked away, like this. And I'm like, "Do you have children?" She said,
Gene
"No."
seized the opportunity.
I said, and so you don't. Let me just tell you something. Being the father of a screaming child before, let me just tell you that person was much more uncomfortable and much more annoyed and much more stressed out than you were. And she said, "Well, you don't understand. I've been on." I said, "You know what? So was that baby. So was that mama. That's not fair."
Don't forget that dog that was on the plane.
That dog, man.
But wait. Let me just
He's
defend
mad
this
at the
lady
baby,
real
but
quick.
not the dog.
Children should not be allowed on planes or restaurants, really anywhere. I mean, they're annoying.
My wife traveled a lot with my
Yeah.
son when he was a baby, and a dog and a stroller and a high chair and not a high chair. That'd be ridiculous. A car seat, but like so much stuff. And it was tough enough when I traveled with her, and she did it all by herself a lot of times. And so, man, my heart goes out to somebody in that situation. When that lady got mad, I couldn't. She's like right here talking directly to me. What are you going to do? I gotta, gotta talk to her.
Well, and that's the thing, Gene. I think anybody who's a parent has been through that and would never give anybody junk for having their kid crying on a plane because like you said, they feel so much worse and so much more stressed out than
that poor kid.
The kid's been
the kid doesn't know what's going on.
Like us.
Yeah.
And baby wasn't in the lounge.
That's a long day.
Was sitting in a regular thing,
Didn't get to eat the barbecue beef that we did, or any of those things.
Exactly. Other potatoes, other desserts, or charge up our phones. And
those little tiny little red velvet cupcakes. Those are pretty bomb. You know what I'm saying?
And so those probably gave you guys the energy once you landed to hustle over to the resort. Or
man.
Hey, we're not finished.
We shared.
That's the 5K.
So wait a minute.
5K day. We need to go back.
Wait, we all shared. We all shared rooms.
But we need to go back a little bit because they're already moving to the 5K day. We're still at the expo.
Oh no, we didn't.
Wait, you guys didn't make it to the expo at all?
No,
we didn't arrive. We didn't get to the resort till 1:30 in the morning.
11:30. Yeah, we landed at 11:30. So, and this is the thing. So it's a madhouse in there. They got luggage all over the place. I grabbed my luggage. Gene can't find his.
Well, I knew mine was booked. Mine was booked to Orlando. So my luggage.
So his went to Orlando, and mine's there, right? So literally, we had to rent the car and drive to the Orlando airport. Gene hopped out. I waited in the passenger seat, hopped over. It was pandemonium. We got to the resort.
I ran in. I was in and out of the Orlando airport in less than 5 minutes.
Wow.
No joke.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's amazing.
But so what did you guys do? Because I think I've seen a lot of posts in the Lizards and other run groups about what happens if you miss the expo.
So one of us was really worried about that. And one of us figured, it's going to be fine. Guess which one was really worried
Guess
about
which
it.
one said, I'm not worried about it. And guess the one that says, oh man, I don't know what to say about this.
Yeah, I'm guessing, Gene, you just didn't care, right? You
figured
it was going to work out.
Care. It's not
you figured it was going to work out, right?
I figured it's going to work out.
Yeah.
They're going to,
and it did.
There's a lot. There's flights delayed. There's going to be accommodations for that, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
so we get to the resort at 1:30. I guess now we can back up.
Okay,
to
so
Expo,
wait, you
to what
got there.
All the other people got to do.
You got there at the same time I set my alarm for
Yes.
marathon weekend the year before.
Yes.
So
They walked
that's a little rough.
in right before my alarm went off.
Ooh.
Lonnie laid down
Because-
immediately. He slept for probably 45 minutes. I slept for probably 30.
Jeez.
And
All right.
literally, we had to walk in. We had to go check in too, right? We landed at 1:30. We had to go check in and then find our room and then go in and try to wake Kevin up. But he must have had a noise machine or something. We couldn't wake him up. I wanted him to suffer like we did.
I was out.
Yeah.
I tried to stay up, but I couldn't do it.
Man.
And you do
all right.
realize that Orlando, like, you have to pass up Walt Disney World to get to the Orlando airport from Tampa and then go back. So my wife described this trip to somebody today. My mother-in-law said, "Oh, how were the races?" My wife said, "It was a catastrophe." I don't know if it was a catastrophe,
Yeah, it's
but it
probably
wasn't
pretty close.
optimal.
And we're
Suboptimal,
eating McDonald's
there
at
we go.
midnight though. Gene was like, "I'm hungry, man. Let's go to McDonald's." But McDonald's,
That's good.
They wouldn't take cash. No, they wouldn't take a card. It was some kind
They
of
only
crazy.
took cash.
We tried to go inside. The person inside, like shaking her head, talking, "You can't come in here. Go to the drive-through." It was crazy, man.
Oh, good Lord.
She was like,
Well-
"These two guys walking up. This got to be strange. This got to be a robbery in place. Because why would these guys roll up in here all fast and try to go? And we're yanking on the door to try to get in."
Give me my burger.
I was just singing Ebony and Ivory, you know what I'm saying? And listening to the Ducks podcast, man. We laughed. That's another highlight is we laughed the whole way because we were listening. Well, except for when Lonnie was dozing. I laughed by myself listening to the Ducks podcast, you know.
And
Good,
these
as you
are
should.
the people that you met at a parking lot at 2 a.m.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Go from robbers to creepers. I mean, you cover the whole spectrum.
You got everybody. We're a very inclusive group. So Sarah, how you said you're from the Kansas City area? How did you make your way to Orlando?
So we flew in Monday. So we got in Monday afternoon. Yeah, we flew Southwest. Thankfully, had no issues. So we kind of were able to hang out a little bit. We're able to go to Phantasmic on Tuesday because we hadn't seen that since we returned. So that was kind of fun. And then got up Wednesday. And I was able to get a pass to get in. I think we were group 44, maybe something like in the 40s, somewhere like that. So
Okay, that's all. Well, I'm glad you didn't have any travel problems. So moving into Expo Day then. How was the virtual queue? Sarah, you said you got like group 44. What time roughly did that get you into the merchandise, Sarah?
I think we were called just afternoon, like so right around 12ish.
Okay, and was there still a lot of merchandise left? Because I know like a lot of the dopey stuff and everything sells out pretty quick.
So a lot of it was left, but a lot of the dopey stuff was not. I was able to get one of the dopey jackets, but it was basically because we stocked the area and waited for somebody to bring back the right size. So I probably stood there for about 30 minutes until somebody brought this one back. Because most of the dopey stuff was, I think they had a couple like there was like dopey like hoodie type things. And they had some really small sizes. And I think those ran really small. So those were about the only ones left. But I was able to get like a shirt and a pin, dopey pin. But the ears and stuff were gone. I don't think I saw the bags or any of that stuff. So kind of depended on what you wanted. I got what I wanted, but I know it was not necessarily easy for a lot of people.
Wow. All right. And then Jeff, I think you were there pretty early, right?
We had boarding group 32, I think.
Okay.
So we got called probably around 11:15, which actually worked out really good for us because as soon as they opened the gates, we went straight up and got our packets and got our shirts and everything, went down and hit the floor of the expo. And that timing for us worked out very good because we went through all that just as they were getting ready to call our boarding group. And we were able to go right into the floor of the merchandise. When we came out of the merchandise, the floor or the line to get your bibs was lined up very long, weaving in and out of the baseball stadium. I mean, it was pretty full line, but we walked right in whenever we went out. I think I was the second person in my group to get my bib. So,
wow.
And
That's
the merchandise when we got there, I probably could have got anything except for the dopey ears. I think that was the only thing that wasn't there whenever I got through. I saw everything else. I had quite the shopping list for people who may or may not have been able to get on flights that day to get there. So we were fortunate that we were able to get there early enough to be able to pick up stuff for people who have flight issues. And then the rest of the stuff I just put on eBay.
Yeah, there you go. You probably could pay for the dopey trip with
Twice.
the prices I'm seeing from some of that stuff. It's insane.
It
That's
is.
that's a whole other issue. But I do wish they had some type of control. At least the first day, limiting people and making sure you're actually a dopey runner. But I guess that's a discussion for another day. So Kevin, any issues with you at the expo, or did you like the virtual queue?
I didn't really get to use it. I mean, we landed. So I landed at about 9 in the morning, and I landed right at the same time Jody and Tim landed. So we all shared a ride over to Disney from there. As soon as I was able to get on to the virtual queue, I clicked on it, and I was at like group 300 and something. So my wait was like 10 hours or something crazy. I just put it in because I knew that I wouldn't get it, but and Jeff was nice enough to pick up a couple things for me. So our goal was to get our bibs and go to Animal Kingdom. So we hopped in hopped in our ride. We shared a ride from the airport. Made a pit stop at Publix to pick up a few things, and then went to the resort, checked our bags, went straight from there to Animal Kingdom. So,
And where did you guys stay? Did you stay at Animal Kingdom?
no, we stayed at Pop.
Oh, okay.
It's where the cool people stay.
It's pretty awesome there for race weekends.
It's a great place for race weekend.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So Jeff, where'd you stay? You and
We
Dave
slummed it over at Copper Creek.
Okay. Yeah, you could have been a Pop.
It was tough. I mean, we struggled, but we managed.
You made it? Okay. Oh yeah. So Kevin, okay, so you went to the parks before the races started. That's a bold strategy.
Yeah, it turns out, and we'll get to this in the later episodes, that was probably a smart move if I knew exactly what was going to happen later. So
yeah, you got out of that airspace for a while, right? Not breathing.
I did get to ride Flight of Passage for the first time, and that was very exciting.
That's a solid ride.
It is. It really is.
I got a little bit like dizzy or motion sickness, but it was worth it. All right. So Expo Day so Kevin, you went to Animal Kingdom. Sarah, where did you go Expo Day after you got your merchandise and everything?
We just went and hung back at the hotel for a little bit, and then went over to Magic Kingdom. Kind of just walked around. I think we did the train that day. But all the other lines were long. We didn't really want to be standing in long lines. So I think we just did the train and kind of watched the fireworks from behind and then went back.
Mm-hmm.
We were at that night we were at the resort studios at Grand Floridian. So we were super close to Magic Kingdom. So it made it convenient.
Oh, nice. Did you take that walking path?
We have before. We didn't this time. Okay. I don't remember. Okay. I think we took the monorail there and the boat back.
So those resort studios, those are the new ones that they started selling with BBC, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we really liked it. And we liked the location that it was at the resort. Getting up in the morning was really nice, getting to the bus and all that. So
cool.
Perfect.
Any feedback on I know the rooms look really nice. I've heard some people say that the walls are kind of thin, especially if you're sleeping for we're in Disney event. Did you have any issues with that?
We did it in terms of thin walls. I had seen somewhere that like you can request the rooms that are bigger because they have like the little extended area that's like on the buildings. Mm-hmm. And so I requested one of those. So that was really nice. So that would be a suggestion. I would make people put those in because you get like we didn't have a balcony because we were on the top floor. All the other ones have balconies, I think, but we had like an extra area that had the couch and a table, which made it really nice. I could set my stuff out there for the race in the morning. As you guys know, my parents were there, so it was nice. I could kind of have my own area to get ready without feeling like I was right there waking them up in the mornings.
Cool.
Yeah, and that's tough too, because I know I've traveled with my family for Princess Race a few years, and it's hard like at 2 a.m. trying not to make a lot of noise when you're trying to get excited and you're trying to get dressed and everything else. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like, you guys can go back to sleep. I got to go run, 3, 5, 10, 20, 6 miles, whatever it is. So, all right. Okay. So we've done the expo. We got all our merchandise and everything. Now we're going into the first race of the weekend, which is the 5K. So typically the 5K, usually pretty fun, relaxed event, right? How did it go for you guys?
I'll start
I think-
with Gene and Lonnie first.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's a good
So
fit.
yeah, you guys got like 12 minutes of sleep, so that's
Mhm.
got to be a good start.
Yeah, we went there. I think we got there just in time. We were probably on the second bus. We were able to get in line. There's an emergency bib pickup. The line was long.
Very long.
So we might have been on there maybe an hour.
Yeah.
But all the rest of the ducks kind of around. We took some pictures, made fun of the line. But when we looked behind us, I mean, it was like way back around the fence. So a lot of people had issues. But we got our bibs. They just was like, look, you got to go back to the expo to get the other ones. We're only giving you the 5. And you have to get your shirts. So we actually got our bib, and as soon as we walked to the corral, they basically let us loose, right?
A and B were already left.
Yeah, so we were C.
Yeah, we were
fine. We were fine. It was fine.
Mhm.
Jody brought me a cup of coffee though. God bless her. Big shout out to Jody because I needed coffee like nobody's business.
Big shout out to Jody for the whole weekend. She was kind of our.
Yeah,
she took care of all of us.
She's such a mom, man, and I mean that. Like, I love that. It's great. We all need somebody. We're like Peter Pan, and she's like Wendy, mom taking care of us. It's great.
Good. All right. So 5K gets going. Sarah, where did you meet up with the group?
So I briefly met Jeff that morning, but like for 2 seconds, I think. He said, hey, but then other than that race I ran by myself. So I really didn't start running with the crew until the 10K.
Oh, okay.
So that was typical what I'm used to, just kind of hanging out in corrals by myself, doing my thing.
I saw Sarah as we were going over to find out what happened to Gene and Lonnie in the line. So it was just kind of a quick passing as we were going through. So,
and the 5K day was our
Mighty Ducks
jerseys day too. So
the picture of you guys. So okay, so we can walk through the race. So the 5K starts at Epcot, right? Kind of goes around World Showcase, goes out into the parking lot, comes back and finishes.
Yep.
Okay. So did they do anything really cool around World Showcase for the morning, or
the barges had the logo for the marathon weekend on the barges like they did last year?
All the torches were lit up.
The torches were all lit. The music was playing. They had some character stops.
Sweet. What was there more characters this year, you think, or
I think there's more in the 5K than there was in the 5K for Wine and Dine.
There's a lot of characters. The thing that I noticed weekend wide was the number of PhotoPass photographers. They were everywhere. Like when you get into the park area, it was just sometimes back to back to back to back to back.
Yeah, I was trying to walk, relax, and I kept having to act like I was running.
You got to run again.
Now you know what it's like, Gene, for me going to like the grocery store and stuff with the paparazzi after me. It's crazy.
Yeah, I can see see the correlation there.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Hey, one more thing. I want to back up just a second. But so when Lonnie and I were waiting, I mean, it's just we got a great group of people between the Ducks and the Lizards, and Jeff and Kevin and Jody and Tim were all hanging with us for a while we were going through that line. I don't remember who stayed through the whole thing, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just great. Worried to death about us, concerned, making sure that we were going to make it to the corrals. And of course I knew we were. I wasn't worried a bit. But there was some concern because the line was long and it was not moving fast. It's like the concessions at the movies where the one person takes your order, takes your money, goes and fixes a drink, and then goes and fixes the popcorn. And this was very similar to that. There's one person doing everything. So, but hey, we made it. So, okay, that's enough of a tangent. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. So you guys made it. Everybody made it through the 5K. No major issues or anything.
Yep.
Right?
It actually worked out. The 5K worked out really good. We had, we picked up Rick and Ali Schlosser, who came up with the ideas to wear the Mighty Ducks jerseys. They had their jerseys on as well. They caught us about the first character stop. They were waiting in line for us till we caught up to them. So they did the rest of the 5K with us. They ran ahead to get in line with us for the Chippendale Rescue Rangers while the rest of us took our time to get up to there. Them and Dave Bartiromo was the rabbits basically of the group. They kind of took off and got in line while we back of the Packers caught up. And then we got to finish as a flying V. There was, I think, 9 of us. So it was fun.
Yeah.
One thing about Rick and Allie is that I realized that I think I might have at some point called them Rick and Ashley. throughout the weekend. I did not realize that till afterwards. So my apologies for Rick and Allie, because
I think you're thinking Rick Astley.
I think I was, because I wasn't going to give them up for sure.
No.
It was very
Let them
humid
go.
for that 5K though. I can tell you that it was.
It
Those
was.
duck jerseys were very.
They
thick,
were hot.
Hot.
and it was
very
humid.
hot.
So when we did have to run a little bit, I was like, this is hot.
So were you guys worried though with that humidity and heat and everything on the 5K that was going to go through the rest of the weekend, or did you know the weather looked pretty good for the next 3 races?
Well, I think they had already had announced Sunday. I think they was thinking it was going to get warmer, but we just we checked the temperature. We know it's going to be cooler for the 10K and a half. So I think we're pretty good.
And the little bit of training that I did was in Louisiana, so I wasn't too concerned about humidity for myself.
Yeah, that's true. It's a little different for us Northerners, where like yesterday I went out in 23-degree weather for a run. It's tough getting used to the 60-degree swing or whatever. But yeah, you guys are lucky you have the humidity to train with all year. So
yeah, you can keep that.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so lucky.
I hate running in the cold. I hate running when it's hot too. I literally
I don't. Is there a time when you do like running outside
and when it's
of
over,
Disney?
when I'm done.
Okay,
That's done.
fair enough. When you got the medals, right? All 27 of them. It's insane. But no, okay, so 5K went well. After the 5K, anybody do anything fun on Thursday afternoon, evening?
Yes.
We did.
Oh,
We
okay.
Go ahead, Kevin.
We talked about going back to the room, but I think we must set some kind of record for a 5K, because I don't think I've ever had a 5K, of that kind of time. So we were
Like
out
in the bad way. Like it was the longest.
No, in a good way. I mean, we got our money's
2
worth.
hours. How long was that 5K? I don't
An hour and
remember.
36 minutes.
One hour.
Wow,
37.
that's impressive.
And so rather
that
than
is-
going back to the room or getting breakfast, we went straight to Epcot.
No, we went to breakfast.
Oh,
we went to Alien
took a
Compass.
bus. We took a bus to breakfast, right?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yep. We
Okay.
took the bus over to the boardwalk.
The
Or
wrong.
no, I'm sorry, the yacht club. And we had Alien Compass for breakfast. Caleb Roby met up with us, and that was the first of many meals that he joined up with us for the rest of the weekend. So
Couldn't get rid of that guy, man.
We tried.
We're
We
still
tried.
stinky. We're still all stinky in our Ducks jerseys in the humid weather. So
Caleb had went back and
I smell
showered.
like
and-
potpourri.
Sarah,
Yeah.
what was your time for the 5K?
I don't remember, but yeah, it was over an hour.
It wasn't.
The Chippendale line, I stood in that line for about
Okay,
almost
okay.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Wow. And I guess that's a good thing to mention too, to like all the listeners, right? Is don't be afraid of, if you're a newer runner or you're not able to maintain that 6 minute per mile, 6 minutes per
16 minutes.
mile pace like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Go out there and just try it. A lot of families, a lot of kids, I think I've brought my kids to 2 5Ks at Disney, and you never feel like pressure or stressed about your pace there.
Right.
It's just a relaxed kind of stroll and having fun, and it's more about the environment and the people and hanging out with folks like this. So that's awesome. So you guys went pretty much right from the 5K then to, you ate breakfast at Ale and Compass and then went right over to the parks.
Straight to Guardians.
Yeah.
Straight to Guardians.
Right after a whole belly full of blueberry bacon pancakes. Why not ride the ride that will make you,
Let's get on something that spins a lot, goes really
But just
fast, and has a lot.
remember
of
now, so Lonnie and Jean are with us still, and
And
they
have a
only
slug.
had like 10 minutes of sleep in 24
Yeah.
hours.
So you guys just you went with them, huh?
They were troopers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
All right.
It
That's
didn't
my
get
first time
difficult till the afternoon, though. It was easy at this point.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you were still riding the high of your hour 37 5K.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And blueberry bacon pancakes that are amazing,
Oh,
best
man.
pancakes I've ever eaten.
Fantastic.
Shrimpy
And
grits for me.
and then Guardians, I didn't even know it even existed, and so you know me, and so I'm so super excited for all this, riding, it's all a high,
It was my first time riding too. And it was
Was it as awesome as everybody says it is?
It was
it
great.
really
I
is.
was worried about Kevin the first time.
Yeah.
Um,
And the second time.
and the
Well,
second time,
the
it was
second
worse.
time.
The second time
I
was
thought-
man, the second time was not pretty. The first time was rough. The second time was a lot worse.
Why? Because of the movement and stuff, or what?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Like I said, I'm okay, but he had that little bead of sweat over his lips.
So remember, before I left, before I left to go down there, I just come out of quarantine from COVID, had a head cold as well, and so I'm landing and my head is still all stopped up. And to get on a ride that disorients you like that, I wouldn't advise
once
it if
you
you
get to
got
a certain age, your inner ear and all that stuff.
That's true.
Oh,
Sarah, hey, I'm curious. Did you ride Guardians?
We rode it twice on the trip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the first time you'd ridden it before?
We've done it like four or five times before.
Okay. First time for me. And I go like radio silence with like something I'm excited about, a new ride, a new movie, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew nothing about it. I didn't know how it acted. I didn't know how, anything. Hadn't watched any videos, anything. And so it was so good, so much better than I guess I expected. But I was curious for Kevin. Had you ridden it before?
No, I did the same thing, radio silent.
Yeah.
I didn't want to know anything about it. You guys just told me it's kind of like Aerosmith and Space Mountain kind of mixed, but
It's a little spinny.
it's not like anything I've ridden, but it's so much fun and so worth it, so awesome.
Awesome. I'm excited to ride it. I haven't ridden it yet, so I'm really looking forward to my next trip when I can get on that guy. All right. So going now, you guys were at Epcot then, obviously, if you're riding Guardians. What else did you do that night? Was there any other fun plans or just get some sleep? And
Lonnie put me on Guardians again. And so that's when it got. And then we had some popcorn. And that's where it kind of
was it the maple popcorn from Canada?
It was not the maple popcorn.
Lonnie's convinced that the popcorn's what got us all sick.
Yeah.
But it got us
Food
in
poisoning from popcorn is very
well, coming off of Guardians.
John,
probably happened nearly once.
It wasn't that. We rode Guardians. We came out and like a bunch of dummies, we just got some popcorn and we all just started sticking our hands in there and eating. We didn't use no antibacterial or what. Dude, we don't know who rode that ride before us, man. We probably could have got, all kind of stuff, man.
But it hit us instead. I don't understand. According to his logic, I don't understand why it hit Lonnie one day, me the next day, and then Kevin the next day. So
it was like day.
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
Stage.
So I have 5 kids, right? And right before Christmas, the first one got sick with the stomach flu, about 12 hours. Then everybody was cool for like 6 hours. And then the next one started 12 hours, a cool off period of 6 hours. And it was like a 5-day event at our house so it sounds very similar to what you guys had. Yeah. And then you just kind of pass it along, sharing with your friends, right?
Sharing is caring.
Yeah.
It is.
But we left there with the popcorn, the typhoid Mary popcorn, and then we went over to meet Flat John Head over at Art Smith's Homecoming.
Flat John had a wonderful time. He's never been to Art Smith's, so that was good for him, I think.
He enjoyed it thoroughly.
Did he?
He really did. He loved the moonshine flight and the apple pie moonshine. He really liked that.
Yeah. I mean, 3D John likes moonshine, so I'm sure 2D John did as well, especially since he was being carried around. He didn't even have to waste any energy.
No.
It was, I tell you though, honestly, guys, it was like so fun seeing where I popped up around Disney World. And like my mother-in-law was here because she helps us watch the kids and stuff during the day. And I'm just showing her these pictures and she's like, wow, you have some unique friends. But
she
yeah,
called us
that was
weird, didn't she? I know she called us weird.
Yeah, for sure.
Had you guys gone, Lonnie, to pick up your bibs and packets before dinner or after dinner?
Before dinner.
Yeah.
We actually went pick them up. Did we get them before the second ride of Guardians?
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
No problems with that then?
No, actually, it was there was no merchandise left. No dopey stuff whatsoever. So we walked in for a second, walked right out, and went get our shirts and stuff, and bought some supplies at the expo, and that was it. We
as luck would have it, I didn't get any dopey stuff that I had to return, so it's pretty great.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a spoiler alert, man. You gotta build it for next time.
I'm a glasses half full kind of guy,
There you go.
Yes.
Well, yeah, good. I'm glad that worked out for you, Gene. Okay, so now you guys have everything. Then we've finished the 5K day. Everybody's setting their alarms for 1:30, 2 o'clock, something like that, for Friday for the 10K. All right. So Friday at the 10K, Sarah, I think that's where you said you met up with this group of weirdos and you guys ran together, right? For the 10K.
Mhm.
Okay. So how did you run into everybody?
Right.
How did you find everybody?
Through Jeff, kind of, we had been in communication, and he met up with him, and then he kind of, stuck with him, and the other one showed up, and we went from there.
That's what happens. You get the whole flock like kind of coming together. It's scary almost sometimes, but it is fun. It's so much better to run with like a group like that.
Yeah.
So how did the 10K go? I know the 5K was you guys took your time, saw some characters and stuff. How was the 10K?
Also
Well, let
took
me
our
say-
time, I would say.
Okay.
1 o'clock in the morning, I woke up with Montezuma's Revenge.
From the typhoid
popcorn?
popcorn. Yeah.
Typhoid,
That
the
contaminated
Black
popcorn.
Plague. It hit me at like 1 in the morning, and I remember just saying, "Oh, this is bad. This is bad." And so 10K, I don't remember a lot of it. I remember.
That
I
was
don't remember a lot of it.
yeah. You were a trooper. You slogged through that one like a
So
champ.
you ran the whole race, the whole 10K, Lonnie?
Well, running is a
Well,
let's say fine.
you
running.
moved your body.
He moved his
6.2
body. He
miles?
stayed with us the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how much detail can I provide? I mean, I don't want to make
None.
anybody sick, but or anything make anybody. I don't want to embarrass
like
anybody. But so Lonnie, he expressed that he was having a hard time, keeping anything down. I didn't sit with him on the bus, thank God. And he shared with me that he took a sip of water and that water did not stay down, and so he was able to. That water that didn't stay down went back in that bottle. Thankfully, I wasn't sitting with him. So he tells me this. We go back. We go back. We get to the to where we're getting. We got to go and go. We do the lizard picture. I did a little devotional that morning with some people, and then we made our way. And we're sitting there. And and at some point, Lonnie decides he's going to sit down. And I understand he's not feeling well. I made some jokes. Lonnie did not respond, and they were aimed directly at him. I won't share them, but I knew he just wasn't right at that point. Then I'm looking. You got to understand. I'm looking down at him, and so I see the top of his head, and I see this, and then I see his hand. This is overhead. I see his hand, and I see. Poor guy. I felt so bad for him.
I know.
He leaned over. And he just let go. And we had to tell some people like, hey, you might want to take a step back.
Well, that was Sarah's first time with us too.
Oh, so this is your introduction to the group, Lonnie.
But Lonnie feels bad at this point. I'm like, look, dude, these people have probably seen, there's a good chance some of these people have seen somebody poop themselves. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Hey, I didn't think myself.
You didn't.
But you need to
Or
put
that
that
we
in
know
there
of.
because how you said it, it's kind of like,
No, I'm not
but
saying
that
you.
time, my stomach was empty anyway. It was just.
I'm just saying, like, you felt bad, and I'm like, don't worry about these people. For one, you'll never see them again. Oh,
I'm looking at him right
they'll
now.
see you.
I'm looking at him right
There's
now.
one right there.
I'm talking about the other people.
I threw those shoes out, Lonnie. It's okay.
Right. There is a good chance he photobombed some of those people. Who knows? But
I'm sorry, Sarah, about that.
But I said,
But I'm impressed you powered through after that.
These people don't care. They've seen worse. They admire you for being here. And like I said, he was a trooper. He made it through. Even cut some jokes during the 10K. He might not remember it, but he did.
I don't remember that.
The 10K was pretty interesting, though.
It really was.
We had, similar to last year in the 10K, there's no bathroom stops for about a mile and a half into it. And that was troublesome for me. So I had to take off, separate from the group and run probably about a 9-minute mile to wait in a long line to the restrooms. And they finally caught up and passed me. And then I caught back up to them just as we were entering inside Epcot. So there's probably a good 2 miles where I wasn't with anybody. And then finally caught up, and then we walked it in with Lonnie.
But we met some interesting people, right?
We did.
Who
Yeah.
did we meet at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We ended
sure.
up walking. As we were going around the boardwalk, we just got to the top of the hill. We were making the right to turn into the International Gateway. And we can look back to boardwalk and we can see the balloon ladies making the turn into the boardwalk area by the Atlantic Dance Hall. So by the time we got to Morocco, they were pretty.
Did I go in the American Pavilion? I went into one of the bathrooms and came out and I said, they told us they're right behind us
And
at that point.
the balloon pretty much hit me in the head when she came out. So we stayed with the balloon ladies the rest of the way. It was fun. We talked to them for quite a while, and
They're very nice. They're very nice people. Very nice.
they're the purest Disney villains.
But they lie. They lie. You cannot convince me that they were doing a 16-minute-mile pace.
They were.
There's no way. I saw them running at one point. No way I'm convinced 16-minute-mile. No way.
16-minute mile is a pretty brisk walk, though.
It's fast.
I mean, yeah.
I don't believe
that's got to be hard to maintain. I mean, especially you get into those longer races.
Yeah.
And it got so crowded. They're trying to push through to maintain the pace. They're trying to part ways, and it got so crowded as you're coming out of Epcot into the finish crowd. So actually, they finished ahead of us.
Wow. But once you get to that point, you're not going to get swept, right?
We were okay. Apparently, they were sweeping behind us, but I don't know at what point. But apparently, they were sweeping in Epcot behind us, but we were okay.
There's a rumor that people got swept at 5.2 miles, and it's what is it, 6.2 or 5.8? That's what I heard. 5.8.
Wow, that's really close.
I don't know if I believe it. It's
I heard that too.
It's what you hear.
Wow, I'm surprised they wouldn't just let him go at that point. But
yeah.
So Jeff, you guys talked to the balloon ladies?
How
were they?
The pure Disney villains. I mean, just they
nice.
spewed the green anger and the hatred and
just like you would think.
Right. They were the sweetest ladies I've talked to.
They really are.
The one was doing dopey. The one was doing just the 5K or the 10K. So we talked to them for probably better part of a mile.
Yeah.
So they actually register for the races, right? And get medals and shirts and everything.
Whatever the races they run, they're just the visual representation of the last runners that you can be swept behind them.
Wow.
So
Did Joseph do an analysis of the balloon ladies, their pace? Did they skip Animal Kingdom?
I don't know that they did.
I don't think so.
I did not see them this year during the marathon, so I do not know the answer to that.
I did.
We saw them during every race. Yeah, didn't we? Yeah. Or no, we didn't see them during the half. It came close though.
They were within a minute of us during the half, but we'll get to that next episode. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I definitely saw them in the full.
So I've only seen them once, and it was on Princess Weekend, and they were going the opposite way as I was going into Magic Kingdom. They were kind of coming out, so I haven't had that close of a brush with them. But they are scary. I mean, even just seeing them brings you anxiety because you know what? It's got to be a tough job, you know.
Yep.
Telling people, "Hey, sorry."
You couldn't find nicer people to do it.
Yeah, they're
the right people for it.
They're sweet people.
Yeah, they did say they're there to help you. It's the people on the bikes behind them that are actually doing the sweeping.
That's
because in my mind I pictured it was like a game of tag. Like you're out.
Like Fortnite when that cloud gets past you and you're just gone.
Yeah,
yep.
I think you told them that, didn't you, Gene?
I did.
But they were very encouraging to the runners. Just keep moving. Come on, we got to keep moving. But they were very encouraging during the
So I think it's more kind of like almost like a Galloway pace group, but without the we're running kind of thing. It's like, okay, we're all together. Let's bring it in. And, they're very inspirational and everything. So
cool. All right. So 10K now. We've gotten through. What happened Friday after the race? Anything interesting?
Well, Lonnie pretty much died the rest of the day, right?
Yeah, I bed for the rest of the day. That was it.
Oh, so so you guys mentioned earlier, Kevin, I think you said it went day by day, right? Each one of you kind of got it. So who was next in line after Lonnie?
Mean Gene.
Woo!
So Gene, this kind of ruined the weekend, yeah?
That's a little strong. I mean,
really?
No, it didn't ruin the weekend. It was disappointing, but I still had a great time. So that day, for some of us, we went to where
Gene, you and I went and got a what is it? The
runner wrap?
Ronto wrap over at Hollywood Studios.
I don't think I'd ever had one before, so Lonnie probably is going to correct me.
We had one last dopey.
Okay, well, I had a breakfast one. That's different.
There and ate one last.
See, like I said,
Gene, my wife does the same thing to me every time I say something. She's like, "No, you definitely did that."
Man, look, I'm going to tell you that so much of this happens in such a blur that you forget.
It kind of is. Yeah.
You especially depends on the day of the race and how you're feeling. I mean, I don't remember it all. I really don't. That day, Kevin and I hung out. We had a great time, fellow Star Wars bro, so we spent all of our time there for the most part.
Yep. We caught up
really
with me and Dave caught up with you guys in the studios for a while.
Did Smuggler's Run, didn't get on Rise.
You didn't?
Yeah, we did Guardians.
So
we did Smuggler's Run twice.
We rode that twice. We had a pass to do Rise, but somebody pulled the fire alarm.
That's right. I forgot.
I was like, I hope you guys get a pass.
we were almost to the end. We were almost there.
About to
That's
start.
right.
Yeah.
We went out the back door. We went outside of Disney. So we saw like the parking lot, really, like where employees park and stuff like that. So that's kind of weird.
But go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Kevin.
I was going to say, we got evacuated. We saw, rebels and, Imperials all kind of hanging out together and just not what you'd expect in the parking lot behind Rise of Resistance, but we saw it. But then we went and met up with Jeff and some others at the brew house. Is that the name of that?
The Baseline Tap House.
Tap House. Yeah.
Me and Dave spent a lot of time there Friday, just getting off our feet and had a few drinks and met up with Ben and Kristen and Troy and Christina Fergus. And Caleb was there a while. So we spent a lot of time at the Baseline Tap House, just kind of hanging out and off your feet, just relaxing, visiting, which was what the whole weekend was for to me. So
yeah.
And then during that second time of Smuggler's Run, though, I started feeling a little bit, just a little nauseated. But I'm like, I'm sure I'm fine. I'm sure I'm fine.
And then after you were nauseated, we went and ate cheeseburgers and milkshakes.
We did.
Great idea.
That's the best thing to do on a bad stomach.
So I didn't eat a lot of the food, but I drank every drop of the milkshake. It was phenomenal, but that probably was not the best thing for me.
I paid for that one.
You did.
But no, sci-fi. That's the first time I've been to sci-fi, and it was really, really good.
All right. So
as you makes you feel better, I do remember watching a football game, going to sleep. Like I started watching the game, I went to sleep, and I think in the first quarter, and I woke up and it was the last quarter of a different game. Because my phone was ringing. So when I woke up, I was like, this is not the same team. It's different uniforms. I mean, I just remember just blacking out and just, Gene would call, how you doing? I'm like, I don't know, dude.
Oh, Lonnie's wife called me. She's worried, she's worried about him. I said, I'm gonna take care of him. I wasn't taking care of him. I wasn't worried about him. I was worried about
having milkshakes and cheeseburgers.
But that's what I told Irie. Don't tell her I said any different, Lonnie.
I'm gonna let her listen to the podcast. So
but he also texted me. He said, "Is there any way you can give me some soup and crackers?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm on it." Little did I know they don't carry anything like that in the
at Pop,
at the resort. But just a tip for anybody that needs some help, needs something. I asked somebody about any soup or crackers, and they said no. But you know what? Talk to the allergy chef, and maybe he can figure something out for you. And so I did. I talked to him. He said, I can make him some, I don't have a lot. So, but I can make him some white rice and maybe some chicken broth. And I said, hey man, that's the best option we got here. And so they put that together for me, didn't charge me anything for it. So that was good. I told Lonnie it was $100. And so whatever, but they didn't charge me.
That's a good point, Gene. Cause that's something that this trip, I think there was a lot more of the Disney, cast member magic, that I'm used to. That, we, like I said, we missed, Rise of Resistance. We went and talked to a cast member. They went way above and beyond and helped us out on that. And, then we went to Pop and, the allergy chef went above and beyond. They didn't just blow us off. They really cared about what, we were saying, and they really helped us out. So there was a bunch of cases like that this trip that I just haven't had in a long time. And I think, I really appreciated that.
Yeah. And, I said I'm a glasses half full kind of guy. And while I'm sorry for, Lonnie didn't get to experience that day and was in the bed sick and, sleeping through football and all that. Kevin and I got a chance to hang out, and Kevin and I have been hanging out for a year now on a podcast, but it was great just to hang out with him for the day. We had a good time.
We did. Yeah. And
So
we
we
got
had-
to share. We got to share, an old timey car and watch some old sci-fi movies together too, over a cheeseburger and a milkshake.
That's right. That's
Aw.
exactly right.
And
Sounds like
share-
the perfect
and share
50s
ill
date.
It was like a 50s date.
Yeah.
It really was.
We had dinner at Mama Melrose that night, which was a really nice before the half marathon. So we really enjoyed our dinner too.
Oh, so you got some good carbs in?
We did.
Got ready for it? Yeah.
What
What
did
about you,
do?
Sarah? Oh,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, so that day, one, we had to go back and we had to switch rooms. So we went from Grand Floridian, the studios, and we switched over to Bay Lake to a 1-bedroom. But we just Ubered all of our stuff over because I wanted to make sure all of my run stuff got there and all of that. We've never had issues with Disney moving rooms before, but just for that extra ease of mind, we did that. And then we went over to Epcot and we had lunch at Garden Grill, which we've never been there. We really enjoyed it. And it was kind of fun because with the characters, they had Chippendale and Pluto and Mickey. But so of the 2 medals, three of those characters were on the 2 medals
That's
we
cool.
had already gotten
Nice.
from the weekend. So that was kind of fun to get pictures with a unique picture opportunity with them. The macaroni and cheese was good carb loading. They had their salad was really good. I know my parents loved the meat they had, so that was good. And then we had gotten in queue for Guardians, and we were just hoping that it wasn't called right after because we didn't want to do it on a full stomach like you guys. Sounds like you guys did. But it was called shortly after we got done. But since you have that hour or so until you have to go back, we went and sat in the DVC lounge for a little bit and just kind of sat there for a little bit and let our food settle before going over to Guardians. And we did Guardians, and I think that's all we did at Epcot that day. And then we kind of just went back to the resort and I think hung out. I don't think we did anything else that day. Like Jane said, the days kind of blur together sometimes.
They do.
Wait, what
Yeah.
did we do that day? But yeah, so it was a chill
especially
day.
with the early wake ups and everything else. It can be crazy. But that's good. So you guys got to ride Guardians and hang out in the DVC lounge. That's always fun. I love that lounge. Just everything about it is so nice. Like I just wish they had a bathroom in there. But the glass walls
down the
and
stairs,
everything else. Yeah. So that's awesome. All right. So now we're through the 10K. Lonnie, when do you start feeling better, or do you start feeling better on the trip?
Well, I couldn't eat the soup that Gene got for me. I tried to take a sip. It decided to leave again. And I just said, you know what? I'm just going to just go to bed and just hopefully, wake up feeling better. And I did. I woke up for the half, just like, you know what? I think I can do it. I'm feeling pretty good.
And then, so Gene, when you said you had the milkshake and that wasn't the best idea, did you get sick that evening?
Yeah. So I just, I had heartburn really bad and I was like all night long, just
up and down. He's running here. He's running there. He's slamming on stuff. He's dropping stuff. And I'm like, dude.
It wasn't like that at all, bro.
I can
I was
tell
trying to
though,
stay
when they
quiet.
came in to check on me, I can tell that both of them, I was like, dude, y'all, I look bad. Y'all look worse.
Oh,
And
man.
You did. Both of them did. You could just
Yeah, I
tell
was
they were
bad.
like, it was like, and even Kevin said, I think I overdid it.
Yeah, I got sick at like 1:30 or so in the morning, and I went to bed and I thought, man, I gotta feel better. I can't go like this. And when everybody started getting up, I just said, I for that hour and a half or whatever till they got up, all that I would go through my mind is, what if I'm unable to do this? What if I can't do this race? And I won't complete dopey, and I got to do this. And how in the world am I going to do this like this? And ultimately, I made a decision not to go. And I'm still kicking myself over it, but I don't know that I could have done it.
I don't know if it helps or not, but that exact same conversation went in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, exact same.
Well, you guys put a year roughly of training into this, right? And I'm sure it's not how you wanted it to end. Maybe, Gene, maybe a month or two. But I mean, after all that work and everything, I understand you'd probably be disappointed, but you got to be proud still of how much work you put into this.
It's kind of embarrassing to just do a marathon, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just a marathon is it's funny that that's the only place you'll ever say that.
I know.
Yeah. But I can tell you, John, I was starving, but I was scared to eat, and I was thirsty, but I was scared to drink. So I'm like, if I'm gonna do this half, I'm gonna do it just like with no food, no nothing. I'm just gonna see if I can make it.
Commando.
Whoa, a fasting half. That's
a fasting half.
Like a
that does
36
not
hour
sound like a
fasting
great
half.
idea.
Dehydrated, everything. Just I'm doing it.
Okay. Well, I think we're going to continue the conversation, I think, next week with more discussion about the half marathon and the full. Because we know right now, Gene, you weren't feeling great. You didn't run the half. Kevin, did you feel okay enough to even start the half?
I was fine on the half day.
Okay.
The half day,
Okay.
I was fine. I finished the half, no problem.
And then, Sarah, you had no health issues over the weekend, right? So
No.
luckily you didn't get close enough to these guys to have them sneeze and catch the stomach bug. So that's good. Because it sounded.
I was nervous about it. I was like, because I was passing through. I was worried on. Well, what was it? One morning I was feeling a little. I woke up a little, and I was like, oh. But I think it was just nerves.
It was Gene's fault.
It's the worst thing.
Gosh, I honestly I'm Gene. I'm so happy you made that decision though, because you don't know what could happen, right? If you're sick, like Lonnie, you said you're dehydrated, obviously you're not feeling well. It can do a lot to your body to put it through.
Absolutely.
Even just the half marathon, let alone the full after. So that had to take a lot from you to make that decision. And I think it's something that, our listeners, if you're listening and you're in that situation, things happen, right? You can always go out and run another race, another marathon, whatever, but you've got to listen to your body. I think we've all been there where
if we're gonna be honest here, is that I've read stories of things that happen to people that are not feeling well on the race course. And if something like that happened to me, I mean, like just going off to the side or even throwing up on somebody, whatever, no big deal. But if something happened and I did something that, I had some sort of accident that embarrassed myself, I would have to change my name, move, never go to a Disney event, get off this podcast. And I just it just boiled down to that.
And let's be honest, Gene, you made the right decision. But if that would have happened and Gene changed his name and he moved somewhere else, and let's just say a year, 2 years down the line, when he finally put it behind him, I will be there to remind you.
Awesome. I love it.
Start the process again.
Oh, man. All right. Well, good discussion. I think our listeners got a good feel of what it was like to run the 5K and 10K with everybody. Go through the expo, all those kind of things. Some good tips there for next year too, for everybody that's going to be signing up here. Probably should have been more prepared and had the dates, but I know sign up is coming up soon for 2024 marathon and Dopey.
Done. I'm
done.
done.
No,
not me.
I'm not doing any.
Wait a minute.
I'm done.
No, you have to, because I'm hoping to do Dopey one of these years coming up. Hopefully, maybe in 2025 or so. But I can't do it by myself.
Lonnie with you. Bring Flathead Lonnie. I'm done.
Yeah,
maybe another race.
I've got 2 years. I've got 2 years to peer pressure you guys. So, yeah, let's start the clock on that. Sarah, what are your kind of closing thoughts, I guess, on the 5K, 10K Expo and meeting this group of goofballs?
Bring them out, yeah. Well, I know I kind of told the guys it was really fun, especially 10K, to do a race with people, because I'd never done, especially Disney race. I'd never done with people, and I love the Disney races. I kept coming back, obviously. I signed up for Dopey. Can't take you seriously.
Oh, that's a good looking man.
What was I? Oh yeah. So it was fun. Basically, yeah, I really enjoyed doing a race with people. I mean, especially Kevin and Gene. We talked most of the time about completely random stuff, I got to help them. They didn't get to get on Rise, but I got to help them get the boarding pass for Rise while we were walking the 10K. So
Yeah, we'd have Lonnie around. I'd have Lonnie around to help me with that kind of
We're
stuff.
like, forget about the balloon ladies. We got to get our Rise.
No, we gotta take
It's
care
more
of it.
important. Yeah.
Y'all
I
left
think
me. I was
there's a-
dying in the back. Y'all
That
left me.
conversation was had, guys. Lonnie said that there's no way they're going to get it figured out.
We really didn't. We
We
tried.
did have that conversation.
We did.
you were trying to
Kevin, I
FaceTime your
was-
daughters and they weren't answering. I was like, like there's a photo pass that I'm running, like smiling, Gene, and you're like looking down at your phone, like very.
Trying to get it squared away. I'll tell you that app is not user friendly. I'm just saying.
I'm with you, Gene.
Oh man.
So Sarah,
Well,
you
yeah,
doing dopey
you
next
guys
year?
are lucky at Sarah there to help you.
For
We're
sure.
very lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. Sarah, are you doing dopey next year?
What, Lonnie?
Are you doing dopey
I'm
next
hoping to
year?
do. I'm hoping to get into Disneyland. So if I get into
Yeah.
Disneyland, I wouldn't be. I'm not that crazy to do dopey as well.
Shooting for the stars. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I
a
think we
good
all
point.
want to do that.
The Disneyland race is opening up in about a month is registration, I think
Mhm.
mid-February.
Mhm.
And then but that's the weekend after marathon weekend in Disney
Mhm.
World. So
Very next weekend.
But yeah,
it's
it's like a
interesting
year
how
from
they
now.
yeah, basically from right now.
Mhm.
I'm just surprised how they scheduled that a week apart. Like, are they hoping to split up the fan base so that there's not as much demand for either race? Or I just don't get it because it's so close together, but it's still separated enough that you have people who are crazy enough to run dopey and then run another half. So
To get
I
the
don't know.
coast to coast. That's a quick way to get coast to coast.
That's true. Yeah,
Within
within
2
6
weeks.
days or whatever. Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
No, but I mean, hey, more power to them, I guess, because I know a lot of people have been wanting the Disneyland races back, and that should be a fun time. I'm jealous of everyone who's going to be going, but any race weekend I'm not at, I'm jealous. That FOMO kicks in, and it's hard to beat.
It's tough.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that was a good discussion. Like we said, I think we gave people a pretty good idea what those races are like. Remember, registration's coming up here. We don't want to forget about that. And if you are registering, may the odds be ever in your favor because it is insane. Last year and presumably this year as well, because it seems like there's just more and more people getting into it. But hopefully they're opening up more spots too, because it is.
And I mean, if you get in and you go down there, definitely try to find one of us. And we love having people run with us, even if it's just for 100 yards or if you want to run the whole weekend. So
yeah, and I was gonna say too, like Sarah, I was like you. I've never ran a race with other people. I don't run any of my training runs with other people. It's like my solitude time. And so I was nervous when I came down and you guys were like, "Oh yeah, come run with us and we'll help you along," and blah blah. Like, I don't know, I've never done this before, but it was so like just effortless and fun. And I didn't even put my headphones in for 26 miles. Last year, which was amazing. So to your point, Kevin, if you go down, be open to meeting people because there is so much fun to be had. I mean, even just running by other runners and giving high fives and helping people along, that kind of stuff. You just really, you really see like the running community as a whole and how awesome it is.
it's such a great community.
Yeah, it's amazing. So Sarah, any other thoughts from you on how weird these guys you ran with are, or just in general about the race weekend?
Yeah, no, overall, meeting up, with random guys in the dark parking lot worked out this time. For real. I mean, obviously I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't have continued to run with them if I didn't have a great time. And it didn't add to my experience of, doing my first dopey. So yeah, I appreciate you guys. I think I've told you guys all that individually, but I do appreciate you guys for taking me in and letting me come along for the journey, even when you guys were not feeling your best.
Awesome. And congratulations, Sarah, on your first dopey and your first marathon.
First marathon too.
That's awesome. Because now for the rest of your life, no matter what happens, you're a marathoner. And that's
You remember how that feels, John?
Big deal. I do. Yeah. And it was one of the best. I have a lot of kids, so I have to say it was one of the top 10 moments of my life, because there's marriage.
You don't have to say it out. You don't have to say it out loud, John.
Katie doesn't listen to this, so yeah, it was the best. My wife does not want to hear me talk anymore.
Even if you don't complete dopey at some point, you still are a marathoner. You're still a dopey.
That's
What
right.
do they call people that do dopey? A dopey. I don't know.
You're dope.
Dopey completer.
A dope.
Dope.
Well, this might be a PR for our longest episode, but I do want to get to what I think is our favorite part, quacking up with the ducks. And that's why the listeners really come back. So, Sarah, we'll save you for last so you can have some time to think of an amazing joke. But, of course, first, we'll start with Jeff.
I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Run Disney typically has some pretty famous runners and people that come down and participate in the races. Did you hear that Paul McCartney was supposed to run the marathon, but he was disqualified? He was banned on the run.
Nice.
That was pretty good. I was going to say it's terrible, but I laughed, so it's obviously not terrible. Lonnie, can you make us giggle?
Nah, but I was just kind of thinking to myself. I said, you know what? What kind of car does a sheep drive? A Lamborghini.
Nice.
Oh, man. Gene, are you gonna be able to top Lonnie's car joke?
No, I don't even have a joke for y'all. But I have been thinking of some stuff, and I've been looking at getting some chimpanzees from New Zealand. I'm sorry, from Australia, same area though. But if I get them, I'm going to put them on my Amazon account so that they'll be my primates. So many levels. Think about it.
It's beautiful. It's a thinking man joke.
I'll go back to the first part when Australia is surrounded by New Zealand.
There you go.
It is.
They're on the same continent, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. I'm not sure.
They say mates in New Zealand too, so it could have worked either way.
Kevin, can you beat the primate joke?
I don't think I can top it. I do have a whole lot of jokes about retired people, but not a single one of them work.
Oh, that was a good one too. All right, Sarah, can you make us laugh?
I don't know. Tall task, I feel like. But yeah, I mean, with running, everybody knew I was running dopey. So you just have, and I just start up conversations about that over and over and told the importance of, make sure you find shoes that work. Make sure you find shoes that work. Because, when you're a marathoner or a long distance runner, you really have to make sure you have footwear that works. Because if you have bad footwear, you suffer the agony of defeat.
Oh, on topic and everything. I love it.
Yeah, that's good.
Perfect.
Good job.
Oh man, I don't really.
All you guys up with y'all dumb jokes.
Yeah, and then I don't really have a joke tonight either. Today was a long day. I had to put up a new ceiling fan in my daughter's bedroom. Two of my daughters share a room, so I put up the new ceiling fan, and my wife goes to turn it on, and that's when she was shocked to find out what a terrible electrician I am.
Nice.
Oh man. All right. Well, if you guys stuck around this long, we really appreciate it. Come over to our Facebook page, Disney with the Ducks. Join in some of the conversations we have. Tell us about your experiences at Marathon Weekend. If you've got some photos of you either with the Ducks or just crossing finish lines or anything like that, share them there. We want to celebrate everyone's awesome accomplishments. Congratulations to all of you guys for the races you were able to complete. It's definitely no joke training for dopey, especially, and marathons, half marathons. And the time of year is challenging too. So congratulations for all that hard work and everything you guys put in. And with that, I just want to say Kwaherini.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
You
Live long
guys.
and prosper.
Adios.
Yes.
I
You
kind
mean the
of wanted to
question?
do.
That's not fun.
We don't want to do a question.
I like the
We have to
question.
do a question.
What?
All right,
Michelle, I
never
spent
mind.
nearly 4 minutes today trying to think of a good question for this episode.
Ooh,
This
nice.
episode.
Well, I guess we're doing a question.
Jeff
just fail?
doesn't want to do a question.
Mrs. Kensington. I was doing Austin Powers though.
Did you park hop or something? Because like you left and went to
Yeah, no, man. He just phased in. I think he
just left
stole
out
the quantum generator or whatever it is.
Right off.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. That is.
Did we really get a shout out on there?
Yeah,
So-
you and Lonnie did. Yeah,
What did he
Hey,
say?
Jeff.
'Cause I don't
it was
listen to
talking about like a stomach bug going through the group. I think
got
that's
it.
what
that. That's what I get talked about.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It was
And
either
then he
that or
followed
travel
up by
problems.
saying, he's followed up saying, "I wouldn't want to be in that room." What's he saying, man?
That is-
If she's not leaving us now, she definitely is.
oh my god! I'm so sorry, guys.
It's like we can't bring these people anywhere.
I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, God, I can't believe you have to deal with Jeff. All
I warned her ahead of time. It's been well discussed.
right.